Everyone, welcome back to the Visions podcast. I am joined today by creator Scotty Mullen. How are you, Scotty?
I'm great. I'm a little warm, but it's great.
Yes. So I ask every guest before we start to go through a little bit of background for themselves and just introduce yourself.
Oh, sure. I'm originally from a small town in western Kansas, and I always wanted to write. I started writing even when I was in second grade. I loved putting my friends in stories and stuff like that. But then it took a couple decades to actually get the courage to pursue it as a career. And so, probably back in 2012, I totally reinvented my life and totally went full force into finding a way to make becoming a writer full time and make my living at it. So I've been doing that. I had my first movie made in 2013, which ironically was the line producer was Dylan Box for that movie called The Co-Ed and the Zombie Stoner. And then Dylan and I became fast friends and then just collaborators, and he directs a lot of my work. I'm very lucky to
Yeah.
get to work with not only a friend, but also a guy who is so brave and really, really goes for it. So yeah.
So back
And this has been a
then,
this has been a very fun summer. I've had a couple Lifetime movies out, and then a movie on Stars, and then Love and the Ruck came out a couple weeks ago, and I just got a contract to write two more, one for My Drama and one for Gamma Time. So it's yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
we'll come to Loving the Rock and the Stars movie as well later on. So we'll talk about those
Okay.
two things that have been big hits for you so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. It's very fun when people actually love it. It's not
Yes.
so fun when people don't. So I'm riding a high wave right now. So I'm gonna enjoy. I never take that for granted.
So when you were younger and you're writing your friends into stories and everything, what sort of stories did you have in mind that you wanted to write in the future when you were younger?
Oh, romance, 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 romance. Yeah, definitely romance, with a little bit of a sinister turn. I
Yeah.
was a really big fan of V.C. Andrews growing up. I studied those books religiously. So yeah, um, definitely, definitely was that, and very much kind of an early Stephen King. I liked his books too. Not so much the later stuff. I loved the stuff he wrote when he was on cocaine. I think that was some of his best stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, but I also like Jackie Collins and I like romance and horror. Those were the two things that I liked a lot growing up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who or what really helped you find your voice when you were younger writing stories?
Oh gosh, her name was Pat Fellers. She was a fantastic teacher. I grew up in a town where everybody grew up. We all knew each other since we were kindergarten, and then we all went through high school together. So it was the quintessential all-American small town. But Pat Fellers was almost gothic. She was almost legendary in her just how smart and bright she was. And my senior year of high school, I took a special class just to where I wrote a novel with her mentoring me. So yeah, that really helped. That was very, very vital. And then also a wonderful teacher, Cindy Danner-Kuhn. She was our journalism advisor and teacher, and she guided me a lot in my writing. So I was very, very lucky to have some amazing mentors at a very young age.
So part of that journey, did you think that those two were are the things that really stick with you throughout your writing?
Yes, the big thing is the encouragement because you always want to give up. And the hardest thing about writing is actually sitting down and making time to write. Once you're in the zone and you get to writing, it's great. But getting there and making time for it, that is still the biggest hurdle. So that's why it's important to have people that you're accountable to in life. Um, but yeah, their encouragement and belief in me, it just helped me so much, and it still carries me through today. Yeah.
So what's it like going from writing scripts to actually seeing your scripts get made?
You know, it never gets old, and we're almost now. I think I have to do a count, but I think I'm up to 40 or 41 produced projects now. And I just, it never gets old. It's just, it's crazy that that was just in my head and that I was battling out right at this very computer right here, by my somewhat cluttered kitchen behind me. Um, that then I put it on paper, and then over 100 people bring it to life and make their living off of doing that, and have put so much care and time and work. It's a thrill that never ever gets old. Yeah, not once. It always blows my mind. And yeah, it's really, really fun. And
I'm the
it's really
same.
fun to see what people do. Like it never turns out the way I imagined. Sometimes it turns out less than I imagined, but lately, especially when I have gifted directors like Dylan Vox and other people like that, they just really exceed my expectations and really go for that. Yeah. So, and I will say what I have learned is you have to let it go, because the only time the project is completely mine is when I'm here writing it.
Yeah,
And pretty much the only time it's yours is really the first draft. So I encourage writers to put as much heart and love into that first draft and really enjoy that, because after that it becomes a collaboration, and you get notes, and it's not solely yours anymore. So I really enjoy the first draft so much, because that's when it's only mine. So yeah.
might be coming to you for advice about my writing because I do write as well as
Oh,
do other
good.
things. So I might be coming to you for advice on stuff.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I do a lot of mentorship. So yeah. So in fact, I just got invited back. I'll be back next year at the Rockabirdy Writers Retreat in Spain. Um, yeah, I think this will be my sixth or seventh time I've been out there. But I really love mentoring writers and giving
Yeah,
encouragement and real honest advice and stuff like that.
nice.
So, mhm.
So what did you suddenly have to learn once things became real and went into production?
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Like, what did you learn about your writing when something was in production? Did you think
Oh,
I've got to?
I see what you're saying. Oh, well, this sounds very egotistical. I learned I was really good at dialogue. And I learned that my dialogue was very easy for actors to say and to remember. And I realized that was a big strength I had, to always move a story forward with dialogue and everything. A big thing I learned, and it's almost been to my detriment now, and I have to do it again, is as I would write, I wouldn't do so much with description of scenes and clothes and things like that unless it was very crucial. Because so much of that was out of my control and due to the budget and what locations people had. So, but I've noticed as I've, tried to, not tried, but as I'm going forward and writing bigger projects, I need to get back into creating more of a visual world. But I would say I'm a good writer. I'm very production friendly. Um, I'm not too precious about things. I like to consider myself to be a help, not a hindrance. Um, and I love a riddle. For instance, the vertical before Love in the Ruck was Kiss of the Pirate King, and Dylan was very specific about what locations he had for me. He said, I have a pirate ship, I have a castle, and I have a dungeon. And he says, there you go. So I wrote around those and everything. Love in the Rock, I didn't realize it's probably one of the biggest movies I've ever written. It was a very, very, very big, big, big movie. There's a lot that happens because it goes over several months. I mean, and all of these rugby games and so many rugby players. I think they had about 40 to 50 rugby extras because there were all these different teams they were playing. So I thought it was just going to be about two guys messing around in the locker room, and instead it became this like, odyssey.
So when something like Love in the Rock or your
Mhm.
movie on Stars, do you,
Yeah.
when you come to write something new, do you find extra pressure come onto your shoulders when you try and write something new?
I see what you're saying. Yes, I will say and it's actually something I'm writing on my own right now is a war epic. Yes, anything kind of outside of my comfort zone. Yes, that totally is. It's like doing like a new sport or working on a different kind of muscle machine at the gym. Definitely. So, a big thing when I'm tackling a subject that I may not be so familiar with or a genre is I read. I read and I read and I read, I read, I read. I read other scripts that are very similar in there. I really study and read. Not so much read books on technique, although that's very useful, but I find like looking at established movies and scripts that I admire in that genre. I learned so much from that. So, in fact, I thank you. I need to be doing more reading. So, yeah, yeah, it's so vital. Yeah.
So for writers who may be watching this, still trying
Uh-huh.
to get their first thing made, what would you tell them?
Oh, just write, finish it, and forget it, and move on to the next thing. You're not going to get better unless you keep doing it. Just keep going and going. You can't have enough new material. And it's kind of a game of statistics. You never know what's going to hit. Um, but I think the big thing is what they expect out here is you have to be good. You almost have to be an Olympian to compete. You always have to be almost have to be like an Olympian writer. You have to be a good writer already. And I think some writers or some even actors, they're very good at getting in the door, but they don't have the actual skills and things like that yet. And then there's people that are extremely talented, but are too shy or scared or nervous to try to get in the door. So try to find those two things to match. But that is the big thing. And also and don't write what you think people are going to want. Write what you want to write.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And you can still take what somebody wants and then turn it into something that you want. But I can never write anything I'm not in love with. So yeah.
It's like they say, don't they? Write what you know.
Yeah, write what you know, but yeah, put some stuff in that, right? And write what you like, write what's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
So let's go on to vertical dramas and
Yeah.
short form storytelling is categorically what it is. So there might be people watching this new to it, maybe. How would you explain vertical dramas?
It is probably the hardest writing I've ever done in my life. And
Okay.
yeah. In fact, I know a lot of my colleagues that have done like Lifetime movies and Hallmark movies and other things have gotten in the game and have run out screaming, going, "What the F is this?" And I think it's a whole different kind of storytelling beast. What has helped me is, especially when I was a kid, I was such a lover of soap opera and telenovela. I just worshiped it and I loved it so much and I studied it. And to this day, as I'm casting, there can be a lot of busy work in casting where I'm looking through submissions or sending out sides for callbacks and things like that. So I always need to have something in the background playing. And I'm always playing old episodes of Bold and the Beautiful, always. And I learned so much from soap opera structure. And that has helped me with the short form drama because it's the same thing as that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a soap opera, but on steroids because the stakes are so high and the turns, you have to have a cliffhanger, you have to have a turn every 60 to 70 seconds. So, yeah.
How much pressure is there to grab people in the first few seconds? That's the thing. Like,
Oh, yeah, well, you just go for it. Yeah, that's pressure. I would say the producers really look at those first 10 to 20 minutes, especially the first 10 minutes before the paywall as rocket science. They really look at every single sentence and every single movement has to matter to hook people because the big thing you got to get them where they are just gonna say, "Screw it, where's my credit card?" Or fine, I'll buy the subscription. I've got to find out how this ends. So yeah, that's probably the biggest pressure is the first 10 pages. Yeah.
does it move so quickly? How do you still make people care about the characters as well?
That's just where, you just, I would say a lot of it has to do with the casting
Yeah.
there. And I think that's what, it's, people are very primal creatures still, so the first thing they always pay attention to is how somebody looks, and then we get to know them. So I think that's why you see, especially in the first 10 pages of a vertical, especially the men, because the main audience for this is women, or the audience that like yeah, I don't want to get all down that, but I would say the main audience is women who like to see guys take their shirts off. So that's why you see so many shirtless men in the first 10 minutes of a vertical. So, and then once we hook you with how they look, then we hook with you how they make you feel and find some sympathy for them and
Yeah.
really get invested in that character journey of them. So, yeah. Um, so yeah, that could be some pressure, but that's the big thing with those first 10 minutes is to get you attracted and to get you hooked and get you into finding out what's next. And also, we also always know it's a romance, but the big thing is you know these two people are probably going to be end up together, but how in the hell is that going to happen with all these
Yeah.
obstacles with them? So it's
Yeah.
always reinventing that whole enemies to lovers thing. It's always reinventing that wheel. Yeah.
So where do you think vertical dramas is heading at the moment?
Oh gosh, it's so the Wild West right now. It really is. I mean, it's just it's so interesting. Um, I know that people are trying to make more variety out there, and I've been very lucky with my drama and now Gamma Time, where they've let me, kind of swing for the fences, and especially with Dylan, where they let him to take some chances and stuff like that. With everything. Um, so um, yeah, I will say it's I don't think it's a bubble that's going to burst. I think it's going to evolve into some very interesting storytelling. So, um, yeah, it's totally it's been a delight. So when I was first writing them, it was very frustrating because of the structure, because
Yeah.
it's not normal structure. But now I have really embraced the fun. It's like a fun, wild night out at 2 a.m. and everybody's getting too drunk, but you're gonna end up with some Taco Bell at the end, and who knows who you'll end up going home with. So it really, it's just a really fun hyper ride. So yeah.
Why do you think people are so into dramas right now? Because I see them as more popular sometimes than TV and movies. I think
Yeah.
they're growing ever so fast that
I think I
TV
think
and
I think
movies,
I think a big thing is because it's potato chips, and it's also
yeah,
so easy to watch. I'm not sure. I think the Chinese started it. I'll just say that. I
yeah,
think that I may be wrong, but they were very smart. I remember a producer from China. She told me, she said this might be hard for Western audiences to understand, but they're in China. Nobody watches television. Because it's controlled by the government, but everybody's on their phone because nobody can see what they're watching.
yeah,
And and also, you don't have to have a huge time investment. For me, like there's all these wonderful, there's so many wonderful series on Apple and Netflix and all these things, but it's almost like you think, oh, I'm signing up for a college course because it's going to be 12 episodes that are about an hour to hour and a half, and it's going to be a slow burn. There's going to be a ton of information. I'm going to have to follow it. I'm going to have to carve out maybe, 3 or 4 days of my schedule. Jesus Christ, where this one, you can just, watch it on the train or in your car. I know a lot of truck drivers um, listen to verticals and stuff like that. So, and a lot of night nurses and things like that. It's something very easy that you can do at places where maybe you shouldn't be doing it.
So, what kind of characters do you think work the best in these vertical dramas?
Well, there's still the big stereotype is the very, very, very toxic man and the very, very, very meek woman. And the meek woman will fall in love with the toxic man because he's rich and he has abs. And the guy mostly falls in love with the meek woman because that's what the plot says that he has to. It's a lot of weird wish fulfillment from a big core of this audience that's watching it. I know that, a lot of my friends here in the United States, when we were seeing this, we really were like, wait, this is totally opposite of everything we've been taught and everything we do. So I will say, especially with Dylan and I, we've had it. We really worked hard to take that trope, but not make it so icky, if so to think. Maybe make him, instead of he's a toxic jerk of a man, maybe he's a very wounded, emotionally wounded guy who was going through some stuff. And instead of maybe just this meek woman who's not good at anything, maybe, giving her, maybe there were some trials and tribulations that she's had as a child or something that she's getting over. So it's not so just weirdly gross, so to speak. So that's been a really gnarly piece of meat to get in and understand. So, but that is still the number one character trope. And it's interesting. The audience says that's not what they want, but they're swiping on that. So that's why the
Yeah.
toxic men. And I was just talking to somebody, my gosh, there's a whole genre of just where these audiences just love watching little kids cry for a half hour. So we try to stay away from it. We try to have more fun with the hot rugby players and the pirates and the high
Yeah.
schoolers that accidentally switch bodies right before prom. So I've had a lot more fun with that. So, and that's the kind of stuff I want to write. I'm not gonna just, yeah. So, yeah.
So let's talk about Loving the Rock.
Yeah.
So, sports verticals, especially sports boy love verticals, are very popular at the moment. We've had plenty. What made you think another sports romance is what we need?
Well, I mean, heated rivalry totally changed the
Oh, yeah.
game. Yeah. And
Yeah,
so that's what it
definitely.
was. So everybody then wanted heated rivalry.
Yeah.
And I remember I was very excited about that. And so was Dylan, because instead, it also kind of turned the vertical trope on its head. Instead of a toxic guy and a meek person, meek woman, it could be very two alpha men going for it. And
Yeah.
that's what Heated Rivalry did. And I really, really liked that. So, with Love in the Ruck, actually, Dylan was talking with my drama and they were wanting some pitches, and he wanted to do a rugby romance. So he put together a whole pitch package and gave it to my drama, and they were like, yes. And he called me and said, hey, do you want to write a gay rugby vertical? And I was like, yeah.
Nice.
So yeah. So that's kind of that was one of the simpler ways it came. That was a very fun pitch because I remember he pretty much just had a picture of two guys, about to, go at each other on the field. And then my drama and Fox kind of gave us a little bit of some kernels to play with, but I had to take that picture and come up with a plot and everything. And we had a lot of different plots until we finally landed on what this one was.
The heated rivalry has really like blown up for that enemies to lovers
Yeah,
um trope.
that's a
So
big
why
thing. Yeah.
yeah, why is rivalry such a good way to kick off a romance?
Well, because and it's so interesting. That's even something that Hallmark has done. Of course, not on the intense level that these verticals do, but it's always two people that don't really like each other that then fall in love. And for some reason, people really just go bananas for that. So they just love, 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 love that. So, because a big thing, they love the journey of how in the world are these two people going to end up together?
Yeah.
There seems to be no way that they can. So I think that's why that trope is so big. Because I think also because there's so many different ways and you can solve that riddle with that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
In Loving the Rock, there's identity, there's pressure, public image. How did you approach all of that in your writing?
Oh, well, I took a lot from, I remember I took a lot from my own life, especially when I was 18 and coming out, and everything. Yeah. Especially, what I really loved about this, and it was a big thing that my drama pushed. I have to really give them credit because they wanted Ridge to be the much more sexually experienced one, and Colby was completely pretty much brand new
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
And what I really liked, and it's odd, I didn't see Love in the Ruck in its entirety until last week. The Andrew, the actor that plays Colby, hosted a wonderful screening party.
Yeah.
Um, and I really think we captured that whole um, sexual insecurity Colby had. I don't mean insecure about him being gay. It was insecure about, well, what do I do? And I don't think we've seen that a lot because a lot of times, like in Euphoria and all these other ones, these kids just, immediately come out of the gate swinging from the fences in the bedroom, having all kinds of acrobatics and experience. And I really liked that hesitancy and that insecurity about what he would do. And that was definitely how I felt when I was 18. Um, so because I met guys that were much more sexually experienced than I was, and that could be very intimidating. And I really think we hit a home run with Colby's journey through that, and Ridge guiding him and being very patient with him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think Andrew really captures that vulnerability that Colby has in
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
it.
It's very fun because Andrew in person is probably the most confident, carefree man I've ever met in my life. He is just a ball of sunshine. He's like Disneyland ride come to life. So, and if anything, Arlen, who plays Ridge, he's a bit more of he has a much more of the sweeter, softer side. So that was very interesting how they kind of played the opposite of that in this. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
So writing romance through conflict, how so it always needs a bit of tension.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is important?
Oh, why is the tension? Oh, because there's no story without conflict. Yeah, there's no story without
Yeah.
conflict. So now some stories that don't that some romance that doesn't have as much conflict is the Hallmark stuff because
Mm.
that's much more comforting and that's more relaxing. But in the vertical world, conflict is key because pretty much they don't get anything the romance is not totally resolved until the last 10 seconds. And if you've noticed, once everything's fine, then we end the show. So there's conflict right up until almost the last second of the vertical.
Yeah.
So yeah, because that's what drives the clicks. That's what keeps people swiping, Yeah. So yeah, that conflict is the key. And as you see in Love in the Ruck, we had lots of fun obstacles in their path. So that was really fun to do. And it was always fun to think, okay, hold on, this is gonna happen, but this is gonna
Yeah.
happen, but so just when we think they reach the finish line, then something else happens to screw the whole thing up. So yeah.
So vertical dramas are popular. There's different
Mhm.
genres of vertical dramas. Now, I'm going to come out and say that my favorite, all-time favorite genre is boy love vertical dramas
Oh, great.
be-
Okay.
because they represent the LGBTQ plus community. Great, I think, anyway. I think they're great.
Yeah.
What do you think vertical dramas bring to the LGBT community?
Oh my gosh, they bring where we can tell so many different stories, and also the production risk is low. And what I mean by that is that they'll let us take a risk on a story without having to bet the entire farm on it. So, and that's much more difficult for I would say that for like a bigger studio or a bigger platform where they're putting millions and millions of dollars in, and if it doesn't work, oh gosh, they really screwed themselves over. So they're not going to take as many chances. I do feel like in the vertical space, we are allowed to take a lot more chances in storytelling and
Yeah.
everything. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's been very fun with that. So, and also we get to play with the whole fantasy element of everything a bit. So, um, not quite, I talked to one, not with my drama or anything like that, but I was talking with another casting director, and he was in development for another big, big, big platform. And he was saying, Scotty, we do a lot of fantasy fulfillment. We're not as raw and crazy as porn, but he says we're definitely porn adjacent. And I think what I like to say, I like saying porn adjacent because it's not because there's a lot of fantasy fulfillment. There's a lot of, oh gosh, what if that could happen and everything. So, and I think that's definitely something they've hit on in the verticals by taking what's worked in porn and using it in the same way over here, only without all the X-rated material.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
I always think as well, boy love vertical dramas have a happy ending.
Yeah, 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 yeah. As opposed to like where somebody commits suicide or something like that,
Yeah,
or dies and gets a terrible
yeah.
disease or everything like that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, Dylan loves a bad ending, so I'm sure. I mean, not a bad ending. He loves a dark ending, so I'm sure we're gonna get a boy love one where it all ends up tragically soon. But right now, it's roses and sunshine for the boys. So yeah.
Are you surprised with the reception you've had with Love and the Ruck?
Yeah, yes, I have. I will say it's been very, especially from women. How many women love it? I would say we probably have even more fans, women fans, than gay men of this. And that has been really, really fun. And I really will say, I really appreciate those female fans because I think female fans are also what got Heated Rivalry made. Heated Rivalry was also written by a woman.
Yeah,
So, and even it's a dark tragic one, but Brokeback Mountain from years ago, the movie, it was written by a woman. So I definitely say these female fans are I'm so grateful to them because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to get this made. Because also the number one audience of Verticals is female. So and I will say they really drive what we get to write, what we get to do more of based on what they watch. And so I'm very, very grateful for them and just their enthusiasm about it all. So that's been very
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Let's talk about They Took My Daughter.
They took my daughter, which is on Stars right now. Yes, yes, a
Is
feature.
is it still at number one? Do we know?
I think so. I think it, yeah. Sometimes we get knocked down to number two or number three, but it's been a battle. But I know we were the number one movie on Stars for 2 weeks running, which blew all of us away. So, first of all, it blew us away that Stars even picked it up. So, it's the first time I've had a feature that was not only on Stars, but then featured so prominently on the platform.
Yeah,
So, that was quite a laborious birth, that script, because I first came up with the idea of that during the pandemic, I think around 2020, 21. So it's been a long time coming. So yeah.
can you give us a bit of background to the plot and a little bit of?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they took my daughter. To be quite honest, it's very much like Taken,
All
but
right.
with instead of having Liam Neeson, you have Vanessa Simmons, who is a very pissed off mother that's going to find out what happened to her daughter after she told her daughter not to go work at that strip club, but she did, and now she's disappeared. So now she has to go find her. So um the birth of that came. I didn't grow I grew up in Kansas, but I went to college in Atlanta, Georgia. And Atlanta, Georgia is notorious for having there's this area called Cheshire Bridge and near Cheshire Bridge in Piedmont, and it's just strip clubs everywhere. And when I was in college, I had some girlfriends I knew that worked at those strip
Yeah.
clubs. And I always thought, oh gosh, there's so many things that could go wrong. So yeah, so I love a seedy atmosphere, and I love somebody that goes in there, thinking they got an easy way out, where this is going to be the easy way to make money, and then it goes a totally different wrong way. So that was very, very fun. So, and what was so fun about that was the collaboration I got to do was at the end, then I got to write the movie with a wonderful writer, Lynette, who is just phenomenal. And we were so in sync with what we both wanted. and she really took the script to levels that I had been scared to take it to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great collaboration. I don't do that very much, but I've done it twice now, and both times have just been awesome.
So this, they took my daughter, it's parent driven really, because it's the mother looking for her daughter.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So why do you think that hits people so hard? Do you think it's because most people who are going to watch it are parents?
Yes, I would say yes. There's always that fear of, oh God, what if everything went wrong with my, how far could I go? And what could I really do to save them? So, um, and I think a lot of times is, that a lot of things, we think, oh, well, we'll call the police and they'll take care of it. But in this kind of genre, and this is a big thing in the Lifetime genre and even BET and stuff like that, is the woman searching for her child, where
Yeah.
something has happened and gone wrong. It's very much like that. I love that. It's an older Halle Berry movie called Kidnap, where her son is kidnapped. I love that movie because the big thing was like, how in the world is she going to find her child? Because the police don't believe her or they can't help and all these things. And so that is just, at the end she's gonna find her. I mean, or it's going to be, unless it's an indie movie at Sundance, then everybody will be dead. But you know she's going to find her, but how in the world is she going to do it? So that's the big thing that makes you lean in and figure out the chase and stuff like that. It was interesting. In my initial drafts, almost everything was just from the mother's point of view. And then the producers wanted to see more about what was going on with the daughter. And also, as the years passed, that's when the P. Diddy thing happened and the Epstein Island thing happened. And so there were all these curiosities about what happened in the P. Diddy house and on Epstein Island. And so we got to explore a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that was really, really, really fun in a twisted way. So, yeah.
So what I want to do now is move on to a big conversation that's happening at the moment when it comes to
Hmm.
AI.
Hmm.
How do you feel about it as a writer creatively at the moment?
Oh, I see. I I am ridiculously optimistic about life, probably to a fault, but I have to be because that's how I get through the day. And I think a couple years ago, at first I completely avoided it and
Yeah.
pretended it didn't even exist and everything like that. But I will say I have found AI to be very useful to me as a research tool and as a planning tool. I use AI every day to help me plan my day.
Mm.
And it also, what I did find was it's been very helpful. It helps me plan vacations and plan trips. My gosh, and has really even exercise plans and all kinds of stuff. It's been such a great research tool where it takes what's out there and that's what I mainly use it for. Um, its writing capabilities are quite alarming, especially in the prose world. I have played around with it just out of curiosity. What I did find was you can tell when it's AI. And a lot of writers, I think, that rely on that are getting in trouble. For instance, I know that I used to be a judge at a lot of screenwriting competitions, like for Big Break and stuff like that, for the final draft one. And I don't do it anymore. But I remember I was on some boards or something, and I think they disqualified. I'm not sure. It wasn't Big Break, but I know some big competition disqualified 60% of scripts because they could tell they'd been written by AI. And that's just not going to work. And
Mm.
also you can't listen, I think um AI is not going to replace your talent. It's not going to be, you got to have your talent, you got to have your skill. You got to be able to actually write and everything. So, I think it's fun for prompts and for photos. But I really try not to use it very much because it just breaks my heart how much it is, oh, for lack of a better word, it's just, raping our artistic community, literally,
Yeah.
and especially artists. And it makes me very sad. about that. That makes me very sad. And I don't know why. I hope that's not the kind of society that we want to be as a human race. Um, so the thing is, what I love about all of this technology is you don't have to use it.
Yeah,
You don't have to use
yeah.
it. And I think it's just showing how lazy some people can be. And yeah. Um yeah, I'm not it's like a husband getting real excited and says, "Hey, guess what? I got this great robot to screw my wife every night. Now I don't have to." Well, that's kind of stupid, but why the hell? Yeah. So that's kind of the fun of life. And I don't know why, out of all of the things these companies could have done first, why they decided to target the artistic spirit of humanity first to replace. Um, replace the dirty dishes, clean up the ocean. I know people say that all the time. Do something with the air. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I guess that was very easy. Those were easy pickings because of what was out there, and that's just really gross. So, um, I am much more the all these AI data centers. It just breaks my heart. I get very excited. I hope that there'll be some kind of revolution happening because you've seen these communities where these legislatures and these council people don't care at all about their constituents. They just want money for these AI centers. And you can feel it brewing, the distrust that people have for now the government and things like that. So, and those are just setting the stages for a revolution, I think. So,
I think when it comes to vertical dramas, the fans are really are backing the creators and the actors and actresses. So they
yeah.
are making their voice heard when it comes to AI verticals. So that's
Yeah, no, and I think it's please, and I really hope that, at the end of the day, it's just they're gonna do what the market responds to. And if the
yeah,
market responds to all these AI people screaming and shouting at each other, then that's what they're going to do more of. But if it doesn't respond to that, if people don't subscribe to those verticals, if they don't watch those, and if they, the biggest thing, it's all about your wallet. And that's what makes people pay attention. If they're not making money at it, then they'll stop it. So I will say, at the same time, where some I've heard some platforms are going completely AI. Just me personally, I haven't ever been busier, and some friends of mine just got some big writing contracts to write for some other platforms. So I don't know. We're gonna say it's gonna be interesting. At the end of the day, it just depends what the market wants.
yeah,
Listen, I've been very guilty where I have, especially on Instagram, where I have seen like a 20, 30 seconds clip of something AI. It's usually something very funny. And I can probably watch that for 20 or 30 seconds, but I cannot imagine watching a vertical drama for 70 minutes with just a bunch of weird Polar Express people. I just can't. I just don't. Just me. That's just at the end of the day, that's not going to interest me, no matter how good the technology gets. So yeah, I don't know why they want to make the technology that good. So it's so weird what people are focusing on. So, and it's a weird giddiness. It's almost like because there's a dear friend of mine. We don't talk that much anymore, but he's going all in the AI and he is so giddy. And he looks like a guy that just found some matches and can't wait to burn his house down because it thinks it's so cool. So that's what I kind of think. These producers and creators that are so excited about AI, it's the same people that are like, "Oh my gosh, look, I'm gonna throw my wife in a freezer and watch her freeze to death. Won't that be fun?" It's just this kind of weird, sadistic, self-loathing thing I
yeah.
think that some people have. This is very judgmental of me. So, but yeah, I don't understand that giddiness to destroy everything.
So we're going to go on to creative resilience now. How you keep resilient throughout this intense industry, really.
I
So
nap, napping. No, no, no. It's very crucial. Napping is so crucial. I have to take a nap before I write. And so, in fact, today, because I have a bunch of casting work I have to do, and then I just got the green light to write another vertical. And but before I go into that today, I have an hour. I'll go down by the pool, I'll swim a little bit, I'll lay out in the sun, then I'll take a nap for a half hour, and then I can write. but I have to re-trigger. I have to calm my brain down and get
Yeah.
myself into the creative zone. So, because also this is very fun for me. And so I have to make sure to keep all of that creative time very fun and everything.
Yeah.
So, um, listen, it was I had to finish a vertical over the 4th of July weekend, and that sucked a bit. I made time for friends, but then most of my time I wasn't able to go out that weekend because I had to stay home and write. And then I had to go to bed early so that I could write in the morning. So you make those kind of sacrifices, but at the end it's worth it. And but I try to make sure I have as much fun in the writing process as possible. So because otherwise the pressure will just kill you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Apart from napping, are there other little habits that keep you creating consistently?
Page count. Like I'll say, okay, I have, it's 1 o'clock. I have to get 10 pages done by 2 or 2:30. And if I
Right.
get done with those 10 pages before then I have some free time. But it's all about math. I break down the script into page count of how many pages I have to get done in a day or by a certain time. Mhm.
Okay, so what's coming up next for you that you're excited about?
Oh, I'm very excited. Next Friday, I'm not sure when this will air, but it'll be on the 24th, on Lifetime Movie Network. I have a great thriller that I wrote called Nowhere Left to Hide. It is a reimagining of Sleeping with the Enemy, one of my favorite movies. It was made last year here in California, and it'll be on Lifetime Movie Network next Friday. And I'm very excited about that. I'm also very excited because I play a detective in that one. So that was very, very fun. It's very fun to be able to step into these Wonderland worlds that I create and get to play a character. So that's really, really fun. So I'm very stoked about that. And then I just got a contract. I can't say too much about what it's about, but I just got another vertical that's also going to be a boy love vertical because Love in the Ruck did so good.
Yeah.
But this one's going to be a bit more dangerous. So I'm very excited about that. So let's just say, yeah. So that's very fun. So, um, and then yeah, and then I just got and then casting wise, I just got a contract to cast a TV show, a real TV show, not a vertical. Not that verticals aren't real, but that's very fun. So, and we were just talking about AI. It's very interesting. I also got a contract. This producer created a whole AI movie and then now he has watched it and he's like, I need real actors because this is terrible. So what he's going to do, he's going to reshoot the scenes. He's going to keep a lot of his AI backgrounds and stuff like that and some of the effects, but he's going to go back and reshoot it with real actors because he realized this is silly. This is terrible.
Yeah.
He says, I'm not going to sell this. Nobody's going to want to watch this. So that which is very, very exciting because he's definitely one a producer that he went all in with the AI, spent a ton of money, then looked at the finished product and was like, "Oh, this is nobody's gonna want to watch this." So yeah, so that's been very fun. So I will that's very encouraging with
Yeah.
that. So I still think people, they still like human beings. So and I kind of see just AI as kind of a bad animation. It's odd. Like I like watching animation, but the AI for some reason it's not as fun as watching animation. So yeah, like
Some of
it's
the
very, very.
animations now are a bit too on the side of AI,
Oh, I
really.
know, and I think people are getting a big backlash for it. That's why, it's very odd though, because I watched so much stuff from the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. I'm like one of those weird people. So I love all that stuff. So yeah, if it's too AI-ish, my mind wanders. I don't know if that's because
Yeah.
of ADHD or I'm older and I get bored easily. I don't know. So but even today, I don't. It's very tough for television to hold my attention. I read a lot, so I love to read. So I'm quite a dork.
Um, are there any genres apart from romance and thrillers, drama that you really keen to try, maybe?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Historical war.
Yeah.
Historical war. Yeah. Uh-huh. I really want to do I love writing about women, but I really want to explore more the relationships of men, not just romantically, but the brotherhood that men have, looking out, this, yeah,
Yeah.
everything like that, and especially back through human history, um, how, especially, these long, long, long trials of war that men went to. I'm talking about like ancient Greece and Egypt and
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff. I really want to explore more historical stuff. And I always like taking stuff where we know some of the facts and then filling it in with what else could have happened that we
Yeah.
may not. So yeah, I don't think that we're ahead of our time. I think that we're very behind our time. I think, every story's already been written, every love has already been happened, human history, but through human history, we've lost our way a lot, and then we find it
Yeah.
again, and then we can also lose it again. So I'm very intrigued about that. So that's a very convoluted answer. So
No, that's fine. So every guest, every episode has two sections that I do every single time. One of them
okay.
is, who are your visions? So there's different genres of my podcast.
Okay.
Sadly, it's just vertical vision at the moment. I've not had many other genres on yet. Um,
Sure.
so visions of TV is an actor, an actress, or a TV show you love.
Oh, well, gosh. Okay. At the end of the day, oh boy, it has to be The Bold and the Beautiful, especially from the 90s and the 2000s. I reference that so much in my writing and even in my acting. I love that so much. And then I also love the Golden Girls so much because it just makes me
Yeah.
laugh like crazy. Yeah, those two. Like if you said there's only two shows you can take with you to the moon, I'd say, okay, give me the catalog of The Bold and the Beautiful and the Golden Girls, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because also those are ridiculously rewatchable. So you can watch those things over and over and over again and not get bored, which
Yeah.
is quite amazing. And that's not just because of the writing, but it's also because of the acting and how it was directed and
Oh,
produced and
definitely,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same for visions of movies. What
Oh
movie?
gosh. Yeah. Oh, a movie I always go back to is Tootsie. I love Tootsie so much. And then I love Aliens. Gosh, those are two very different movies,
They
but
are.
I go to those, I go to Aliens and Tootsie so much. So, um, what would be fun? I told this to Dylan. If ever I would love for someone to invent the technology of AI where you can take a movie you love but put different actors in it. And I was just thinking how funny it would be to watch Aliens but have Tootsie play Ripley. I would watch that all day long. So yeah.
Your vision of music. Who is there an artist or many artists that are constantly on replay?
Oh yeah, Madonna. Madonna is. Madonna and Jerry Goldsmith movie scores. Those two things are on replay a lot. And then some Kylie Minogue as well. But yeah, and John Barry. I listen to a lot of movie scores because that helps me with my writing.
Yeah.
And then just Madonna dance music. Yeah, all day long.
Vertical vision. So, can you describe your time in the vertical space with one word or a phrase?
Oh, um, mischief. I think mischief is the best way because I got into this as an actor because I tried getting in as a writer and I couldn't find a way into the door. So I got into the vertical world as an actor. And I thought I was going to get hired to be like the gay best friend and all that stuff. No, I get hired to be the very mean father, the philandering husband, the guy that's going to try to, roofie your girlfriend and have my way with her in the bathroom. So very, very, very fun mischief. And even the stories I write, I always try to find, okay, what mischief can we get into with these characters? Yeah.
Yeah. A Visions Book Club. What you say you read? What is your
Yeah.
favorite book?
Oh, oh, without a doubt. and I'm kind of growing out of it, but it's Petals on the Wind, the sequel to Flowers in the Attic. What I love about that book so much, I learned so much from that book because of what VC Andrews, she took that great novel and then gave you a revenge story that just was beyond your wildest dreams of everything you wanted. I've never screamed at a book so much because through the entire book, you're begging her to marry her brother, which is so weird, but you are so invested in that relationship, and she does everything she can in that book to fight it. She marries and screws every other man but her brother until the very end. And it's one of those books that really it really just gets in your head. But I remember I have not found a book where I was just salivating with every page, just wanting to know what else would happen because I truly had no idea. I knew she was going to get revenge on her mother for putting her and her brother and sisters in the attic, but I didn't know how. And I love that book so much because it was just she really went there as an author. And I've learned a lot to really just swing for the fences and not only give your audience what they want, but even go more for it. So yeah, I really that has really inspired me a lot to this day. So yeah.
And if you have one, your vision of theatre.
Oh, my th there's two things I love. I love a chorus line because oddly, my senior year of high school, we did a chorus line. We had no business doing a chorus line in Little Hayes, Kansas. We did a chorus line because the choreographer's daughter was in my class and she was a very good dancer. So they did it for her. But I remember I played Al DeLuca from the Bronx. Oddly, I played the straight guy up there. But that show was that really affected me my senior year of high school because it's a lot about ambition and just going for your dream, even if it won't come true. That's what I feel like a chorus line is about. And then the other theater show I love so much is the Phantom of the Opera.
Mm.
I love the synthesizers, I love the smoke machines, I love how over the top it is. I just love it. Yeah.
So our final game is this or that.
Okay.
I will give you two options. You choose which best describes you. If you
Okay.
want if you want to say both, that's fine by me.
Okay. I'll try to pick one or the other though. Okay.
First one, night in or night out?
Night out. Night out.
Alone time or time with friends?
Oh, time with friends.
iPhone or Samsung?
I wish I had a Samsung, but I have an iPhone because I'm too lazy to change to the Samsung.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram. Yeah.
Text or phone call?
I like a phone call.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Playlists or podcasts?
Playlist.
Board games or video games?
Board game.
A beach or a forest to walk on?
Beach. Beach.
Road trip or direct flight?
Oh, road trip.
Yeah, and that's the end. That's 10 of them.
Oh, that's it. Oh, it's having so much fun. That's great.
Scotty, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh no,
It's
thank
been...
you. And this is great. Yes, you are a very good interviewer. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're
It
very
did.
gifted. You are very gifted. Keep going after this. This is what you should be doing. You're very good at it.
Thank you very much. Only brand new
Okay.
this year. It's only brand new this year, so
Love it. I think it's going to go far. You're very good at it, sir.
thank you. And
Okay.
congratulations on loving the Ruck as well, because I enjoyed every second of it.
That means a lot to me, buddy. Thank you so much.